Alright, come on, baby. Not you! Silly boy! What? Hey everyone, I'm TM Sparrow, writer and homeschooling mom, and today I'm going to tell you all about the mice quotient. So today I want to jump right into the topic because this one is pretty hefty. So, what is the mice quotient? It's a system that can be used to categorize stories, but it's also sort of a guide on where your story should start and end based on where it fits in that system. MICE is an acronym for Milieu, Idea, Character, and Event, which are the 4 types of stories in this system. It was created by Orson Scott Card, and he talks about the mice quotient in his 2 craft books, Characters and Viewpoint, and How to Write Science Fiction and Fantasy. Now, this might sound complicated, but it's actually deceptively simple. So, let's break down each classification and how we might apply this to our own writing. First up is milieu, or setting. A milieu story starts when a character enters a new world and ends when that character returns to their old world. 2 really good examples of milieu stories are Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and The Hobbit. In milieu stories, world building is key. The focus is on the strange new world that the character has entered. Alice in Wonderland, after all, is more about Wonderland than Alice herself. These kinds of stories allow you to show more detail and description of the world than many other types of stories. Characterization kind of takes a back seat to the world building here. You want to use it to support the world building, but not overshadow it. Although, with modern tastes in mind, these kinds of stories might work better if you blend or nest them with one or more of the other story types. More on that later though. Then you have idea. An idea story starts with a question and ends when that question is answered. So good examples of idea stories are pretty much any story within the mystery genre, such as Sherlock Holmes or The Murder on the Orient Express. Idea stories are all about solving a problem. Give your protagonist a tricky mystery to solve and send them on an investigation full of twists and turns. Who killed that man? Was it really the butler who did it? How did that trinket get stolen from that locked safe in a vault in a locked room with no windows? This story type is really great for having fun with those really out there, eccentric, and memorable characters. After all, these are the kinds of stories where you find characters like Sherlock Holmes and Poirot. Next up is character. A character story starts with a dissatisfied or disgruntled character and ends when that character has either achieved a new life, gone back to their old way of life with a new perspective, or becomes hopeless and just plain gives up. You can find many examples of character stories in the romance genre. Also, another really great example of this type of story is the classic Christmas movie, It's a Wonderful Life. As the name of this type suggests, your focus here is on fully developed and well-rounded, fleshed out characters. This is probably my favorite of the 4 types because I love a good character-driven story. Characterization is key here. You have to create a protagonist that readers enjoy reading about. Give them someone that they can care about and root for. The reason that most romance stories tend to fit here is because they are all about characters who feel like they are missing something in their lives. Now, in those stories, that typically ends up being love, but that doesn't always have to be the case with a character's story. Look at The Wizard of Oz. Dorothy starts the story dissatisfied with her simple farm life, but by the end of the story, her journey has taught her that there is no place place like home, and she returns to her home with a new appreciation for it. And finally, we have event. Event stories start with something happening. Something goes wrong with the world and ends with a solution to this problem, or in some cases, with everyone dying. Some really good examples of event stories are pretty much any of Shakespeare's tragedies, like Macbeth or Hamlet, and even some of his comedies, like A Midsummer Night's Dream. I would also add here that the Lord of the Rings trilogy is at heart an event story. Event stories are about the world being wrong somehow. Something happens that puts the world out of whack. The king is killed and his brother marries his widow. A nobleman's wife convinces him to kill the king and take the throne. Or a hobbit has a magical ring that the great evil in the world is searching for, and this great evil cannot be destroyed unless that ring is destroyed. The focus here is on how the character goes about setting things right and restoring order to the world. Now, you may be wondering, do I have to choose just one of these types for my story? And the answer is, not exactly. You can use as many or as few of these story types as you choose, but the more types that you use, the longer your story is going to end up being. So, for example, a short story is probably really only going to use one type, whereas a novel could use all four. Remember when I mentioned blending or nesting the story types? This is where that comes in. The key to using more than one type of story from the mice quotient is to nest them. I mentioned The Wizard of Oz before, and this is actually a great example of this because it is both a character story and a milieu story. So looking at how The Wizard of Oz nests these two story types shows us that the beginning and the ending mirror each other. It starts as a character story because we are introduced to Dorothy and her unhappiness with her life at the start. Then she is literally carried away to another world. It's through her adventures in that world and her efforts to return home that she reconciles her feelings with her normal life, and it is only then that she is able to return to her normal world. So the key here is that the ending mirrors the beginning. So if you open with a character story and then have an event and then follow that with a milieu, you have to close them in the reverse order. So the character returns to their normal world, they set everything right in the world, and then they gain satisfaction or acceptance. Now, this is not a very rigid structure, but the plus side to that is that you can use the mice quotient with pretty much any other story structure out there. This is more of a lens to help you narrow your story's focus. The main benefit of applying the mice quotient to your story is that it will help you make sure that you keep your promises to your readers. After all, if you start your story with a murder, you can't end the story without telling your readers who the killer was. Right? So that's all I have for you today. You can tell me your thoughts on the mice quotient in the comments down below. Or, as always, you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. And if you want to see more, then don't forget to subscribe. I post new videos on Wednesdays. See you next time.
My name is Ava, in case you forgot, or if you're new.
Why don't you tell everybody what book you're reading right now?
I have actually decided to start the Midnight Arcade series. Midnight Arcade.
And what kind of books are those?
They're play your way book.
So they're kind of like a choose your own adventure book. Except video games.
Yeah.
But in a book.
Uh-huh.
Two of your favorite things.
Mm-hmm. I love reading. And it's video games.
You had something you wanted to show everybody.
Yep, 2 things.
2 things, okay.
Now, they're painted. Here's from How to Train Your Dragon. Is it turquoise or teal or a regular blue? Just a lighter version? Let me know in the comments. Well, let her know in the comments. And I can ask her to tell me. Anyway, and
Let us know what? What are they
Also-
supposed to let us know?
let us know what her actual name is, other than Sienna, in the comments as well. Down below.
Okay, so you want people to tell you whether this color is teal or turquoise
Or just light blue.
or just light blue, and then what the actual name of the dragon is in the movie. Okay.
And that's all.
All right, so you can tell everybody bye.
Bye!
Hey everyone, I'm TM Spare. Hey everyone,
I didn't mean to do that.
have kids, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Hey everyone. Someone's got the giggles. Hey everyone, I'm TM Sparrow. A wild Ava has appeared. Hey everyone, don't you... Avenira. Hey everyone, no. It was created, no. Bleh. So, let's break down, bleh. After all, Alice and bleh. The story, bleh. Give your character a trick, bleh. Idea stories are all about no. Bleh. Oh, hey, I forgot I was still recording. Cell phone addictions are great. Or just became bleh. The reason that the focus here is on how this bleh.
I shall lay a finger at you. Beep, 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 beep. Beep, 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 beep.
Okay, that's enough. Mommy doesn't want a copyright strike.
Okay, you can put that part in the outtakes too.
Okay.